Welcome to the call today. We've got people from all over the country and all over the world on the call for our special guest, Dr. Afapalu, who is a great friend of mine and a friend of a lot of yours that are listening here, either live or by a recording. But I have the pleasure of introducing Dr. Palu, who is considered by most the world's expert on noni. And that's our topic for today, is basically about what the medicinal values of noni is, and then also about Nuku-Hiva and why Nuku-Hiva is the best noni product on the market. And he should know that because he studied this for years and years and years, and is one of the designers for Nuku-Hiva. And so I have the privilege now then of introducing you to Dr. Afapalu. Afa, go ahead.
Thank you, Brad. I wonder if they can hear me.
Can you guys all hear Afa?
Yes, we hear him perfectly.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity, Brad, and also to all of you who are joining us in this Zoom webinar. Hello to you, Katie. And thank you for this opportunity. So I'd love to talk about noni and especially Nuku-Hiva. Love drinking Nuku-Hiva. And if there are some of you who do not know me, I have drank noni since I was 2 days old. And I'm 53 years old now. So
Wow.
That tells you how long I have been drinking noni. And I will tell you though, this is the best noni ever. Okay? Compared to the noni I used to drink a few years ago, compared to the noni that I used to drink back in the islands of Tonga, and especially the ones that my grandmother and my mother prepared. The smells of it and the taste don't even compare. They're really pale in comparison to what Nuku-Hiva is. Okay, so Nuku-Hiva to me is what my ancestors would have done earlier if they have known how to do formulation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's a phenomenal product. It's an exciting product, and it's a product that I look forward to drink a lot more of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me share with you a few things that might be helpful to you, and so we'll just dive right in. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that the information I share here is to help educate you about the noni fruit, but especially also the Nuku-Hiva as a product. Okay? And it's good to share these things with you so that way you know how good the product that we have. And not only use them, but also share them with others who'd like to have the same benefits as you do. Okay? So some of the questions they always ask us, and Brad, it's always exciting to get questions from out there in the field and from other people as well. And they always ask things like, why is Nuku-Hiva better? I wish I had the time that we can sit here and talk about for 3 hours about why Nuku-Hiva is better, but we don't have the time. Okay, so we have enough time just to give you brief information about these things. And to start with, why Nuku-Hiva is better. Number one, as you know, that my ancestors prepared noni by fermenting it, and they used the fermented noni nectar. Okay. And in Nuku-Hiva, we have a lot more than the fermented noni nectar. We have the noni fruit puree. So the noni fruit puree is prepared differently than the fermented noni nectar. And in Nuku-Hiva, those two are combined. And when you combine those two in Nuku-Hiva with the other 8 ingredients in Nuku-Hiva, you get 1,500 plus phytocompounds, which really help you and support your health endeavors as you try to be more healthy every day. Okay, and not only that, but the last thing I like to share only three things is better tasting. You know, perhaps some of you might say, well, it's a little bit too sweet or whatever. I wish that the things that my grandmother and mother use are here for you to taste it and see if you want to drink it. Okay, so Nuku Hiva is a blend of scientific, the noni fruit puree, and the traditional, the fermented noni nectar. Combine those two together with the other ingredients, you have a tons of health benefits. 1,500 at least compounds. In reality, it's 1,525. And always put a plus there because there's always new research that identify a new compound in the fermented noni nectar, okay, or the noni fruit puree, or the other ingredients of Nuku Hiva. And then the last but not the least is better tasting. Okay, so that is very important because it's good for the little babies, good for the young kids, good for everyone. Okay, so that is some of the reasons why Nuku Hiva is better. And then some ask, what are the science behind the Nuku Hiva? We have too many science to be reviewing it in this short amount of time, but I will give you just a few. Okay, in the product of Nuku Hiva, we only blend them, and every ingredient are pasteurized only one time. Okay, that is different from any products out there. Number two, the way that we process the noni fruit puree is different. And I won't go much more than that because that's proprietary information, okay? But it's different. We prepared it in a way that we only have to pasteurize them only one time when all the ingredients are in. Okay? I'm very personally involved in that, give them instructions how to do it. And when we produce Nuku Hiva, I'm there in the morning. A lot of time we start at 2 o'clock in the morning. And then the same goes with the fermented noni nectar. Okay? Yeah, we process them in a way we know exactly when to pick the fruits, how long to ferment those. And again, mixing those two together and the rest of the other components of Nuku Hiva, we only pasteurize just one time. And not only that, but we get different noni fruits from various Polynesian islands in Nuku Hiva. So you get a representative of what Polynesian is. Poly means many, and the rest of the word Polynesian means many nations. So we get fruits from Nuku Hiva, from Tahiti, from Hawaii. We get fruits from Samoa, and also a little bit from Tonga. So we get 5. It's not just one sources. Okay, that will also help the community. But not only that, but also I diversified the compounds because sometimes noni from different locations are a little bit different. By combining them, you get the optimal and the maximum. Okay, and we have seen in some of the research and also research out there done that the ingredients, they really synergistically enhance the effects. And like what I said before, it's 1,525 phytocompounds in Nuku Hiva. Okay? So that is very important. So those are some of the science of Nuku Hiva. And we'll get in the next few slides about a little bit into details on some of those. Okay. So another question that they always ask is that, what are the medicinal value of Nuku Hiva? Okay. There are quite a few of them. We can only talk only a little bit of them, okay, or some of them. Number one in the list is the immune modulating effects of Nuku Hiva. Number two, modulating the health blood pressure. okay, or high blood pressure. So it needs to be in a healthy level of blood pressure, okay? And that is something amazing, Brian, about noni and nukuhiva. If your blood pressure is healthy, it does not take you up or take you down. It just strengthen you, stay there. Okay, that is something interesting. But if the blood pressure is high, which a lot of people who take nukuhiva, they're amazed, and their doctors are amazed at how it helps lowers, bring it down closer to the normal in a month. Okay, cholesterol. Um, Cholesterol is very important for our cells, but at the same time, we don't want cholesterol to be sticking to other areas such as the brain, which can cause a lot of stroke, or to the heart, which may cause a lot of heart attack. Okay, so it will be good to lower those to the healthy levels. Okay, there was somebody who asked me, does nukuhiva lower the cholesterol level to zero? I said, there is no such thing as zero cholesterol level. Well, there's actually one. That means you're dead.
That's bad.
Okay, but there is a level that is considered to be normal and healthy for cholesterol, because as you know, all of our sex hormones or the cell membranes are made up of cholesterol. Okay. In fact, it's like 75% of cholesterol supposed to be manufactured by the body, and 25 is supposed to come from our nutrition or the food we eat. I think nowadays we know that it seems like the numbers flip the other way around. A lot of people are doing 75 produced by the body and 75 from what they eat. So as you can see, that Sonora is all about balance, and we need to balance out those things. And nukuhiva will help you in that regard. Okay. Now, blood sugar is always the same. People always ask, can nukuhiva lower blood sugar to zero? No, because you'll be dead by that time it's zero. Okay, so blood sugar usually should stay at 100 milligram per deciliter, okay, or a little bit below that. Not too low, because when it's too low, you know that your sugar is low, there is some problem. But after you eat, it goes up to 120 or so. And after a couple hours, it should bring it down to where it should be, right? So blood sugar is very important for our health, but excess blood sugar is not. So nukuhiva will help you to achieve that goal. Support healthy inflammation. Inflammation is not bad because inflammation is needed for the body to help in control microbials, among other things. But when it's not controlled, that's when we have other problems. Okay, so there are a lot of talk about low-grade inflammation, which are needed for our health, but sometimes they go into a hyperdrive and you cannot bring the inflammation down. That's when we get into a lot of other health conditions. Okay, so a lot of things we don't talk about much before, but I would like to start talking about is the lymphatic system. It's quite an amazing system because it is almost bigger than the circulatory system, and everything are drained into the lymphatic system. And in fact, after those immune cells are produced and mature, that is their way in, is to go through the lymphatic system. That's why you call T lymphocytes. They come from the lymphatic system, right? And when there's a blockage of the lymphatic system, it's going to start backing up, and you see a lot of hands or foot start, to increase its sizes. That is because of the lymphatic system, okay? And not only that, but research has shown that diabetic conditions compromise the lymphatic system. And when there is a patient who goes through stroke or heart attack, the lymphatic system is compromised. And if it's not trained, it's going to be trained to somewhere else in the body, which is not healthy. Okay, so everything needs to be trained back to the liver in order to recycle some of it, and then the liver process them and get rid of them. Okay, But if they don't get to the liver, they go someplace else, which cause a lot more problem. Okay, so the information will go to a hyperdrive at those times. And the last but not the least, here are only a few, is the weight management. It will help you with weight management. Okay, so if you're looking, this is way different from drugs. Drugs have a lot of side effects. These are all natural fruits. Okay, with noni the most, fermented noni nectar, and the noni fruit puree. So let's go in and see if we get in a little bit more detail into some of the benefits of nuku hiva that we have talked about. The first one we like to talk about is the advanced glycation end products. Advanced glycation end products is almost when it is to excess, it becomes a driver of inflammation, and it will go to a hyperdrive. Then you see a lot of other human conditions. This is one of the reasons why when you go to the doctor, you always have to look at your blood chemistry, and they always want to know your HbA1c. Okay, that is a sign for them to actually get some idea of how much advanced glycation end products you have. And for those of you, when you look at the pictures, all of those glucose molecules, they bind into the red blood cells. Okay? I'm not sure how many of you know, but red blood cells, when they mature, they go through a process is called enucleation. The nucleus are removed by the cells itself, freeing out more spaces in order for oxygen to bind into. And unfortunately, some of the glucose bind into it. Okay, that is what you call HbA1c. You're looking at your hemoglobin, see how much of the blood sugar that binds to the red blood cells. Okay, as you can see, if you have too much of them bind there, not enough room for oxygen, and you can see the domino effects it will have on the body. Okay, that is one of the reasons why you should always check up on your HbA1c. Now, speaking of HbA1c, it's quite interesting to me because in my community of Pacific Islanders, there are quite a few people have a lot of HbA1c. And to those of them, I told them, well, why don't you take your nuku hiva, even though nuku hiva drops it down, combine it with the SRQ, which is the reason why I put SRQ there. Mm-hmm. It goes back. This, let me give you an example. Here's a gentleman who has been in dialysis for 5 years, and the HbA1c has never below 7. Okay, and in about 3 months, I remember he came here to Utah, and I gave him a nuku hiva bottle, and of course the SRQ. And then about a month after, when he went to see his doctor for doing some blood tests, because they do blood tests kind of like every month, other than what they normally do. Okay, so and he called me and he said, my doctor could not believe, always 7 or high, I'm below 5. And he wants to know what I did because I'm on strict dietary guidelines. Okay, he can only eat half of a potato. I don't think that I can control myself. Okay, but he follows that to the T. The only thing difference was the nuku hiva and the SRQ. Okay, so it's below 5 for him for the first time in 5 years. That is, so the doctor asked him about it, and he took the bottles to him. He said, well, I don't know much about that, but why don't you continue taking it? Okay, so it's very important to lower our advanced glycation end products, only because of this. When you have excess sugar, they bind to a lot of the proteins, and in proteins everywhere they bind to it, and it's almost having a handcuff. So if you get handcuffed, your mobility is reduced. The same goes for the proteins in the body. This is why it's important, and nuku-hiva is very important. Okay? Antioxidant. Now we talk a lot more about antioxidant and the NRF2 activator. Okay, noni is a strong activator of NRF2. Now, what's the what is the relationship between antioxidant and the NRF2 activator? The NRF2 activator or NRF2 by itself, that is the master switch of antioxidant. Okay, and the antioxidant we're talking about the phase 2 enzymes, or what we call glutathione, all of those enzymes. Okay, those we refer to as antioxidants. So when you take something and those enzyme goes higher, that means it's a strong antioxidant. If it is lower, that means it's not an antioxidant. Okay, but the interesting part in this story, Brad, is because of the NRF2, the master regulator. Okay, so the interesting thing about noni, though, which is still a lot of people have a hard time understanding, like what it does for blood pressure. If your blood pressure is normal, it stays normal. If your blood pressure is too high, it will reduce it down. If your blood pressure is low, it brings it up. So noni does the same for the master regulator. Okay, the master regulator you can think of is kind of like your thermostat. I think it works well for us who live here in Utah than somebody like Kitty who live in California. Okay, because right now we're turning from cool from the to the hot, and then like my home usually stays in the summer try to stay at 70. Okay, it costs money if you have that, but I just bring it up to 80. I still feel comfortable at 80. So when it's cold time right now, usually at night, 50s, sometimes 65, and I usually just set it back to 70. You know, it's not too cold, not too hot. Okay, that's how NRF2 works. It is. So let me explain a little bit if that might be helpful. So I have somebody who asked me, so why do we need antioxidant? Well, we need to live, and in order to live, we have to eat. Every time we eat and the mitochondria produce energy out of it, there's always the oxidant. Okay? If you think of oxidant as a minus, antioxidant as a positive, so positive and the minus reduce it to basically neutralize it. Okay, so when the body produces those, and we need oxidant, but in a very minimal level, because they are antibacterial at the same time. Okay, so but when it get excess, that's when the NRF2 activate itself. Okay, and a lot of time when you get older, believe it or not, when you get older, the activator does not work well as when it was brand new.
I believe that.
Okay, so remember when you buy a new car, the smell is nice, the tire is nice, everything is nice. 6 years, 7 years, 10 years from that, it does not smell the same as when you first bought it. Okay, so the body is amazing. And the NRF2 activator sense those. When you have a lot of oxidants, it activates itself, so the enzymes will help to reduce that down. But the older we get, it's not very good at activating it, so we need help, which is why nuku-hiva is very important. It's not only an antioxidant, but also help the activator to activate it if it's not activated. Okay, so it's very important. Now, from the previous slide, we talked about the antioxidant properties of noni and nuku-hiva. Okay? Antioxidants are very much needed in order for our liver to stay healthy. Okay? Because there are a lot of things we eat or drink that are very, to the liver itself is kind of toxic to the liver. So the liver will process it. Okay? Think of it kind of like a long piece of rope. Liver will go, oh, this rope is too excessive. You have to start cutting it down in smaller pieces before it get rid of it. Okay, and you need a lot of antioxidant for the liver to stay healthy. Okay, which is why it's very important to have the Nuku-Hiva as part of your um, daily routine. Okay, I do. I drink Nuku-Hiva from Monday to Sunday and then repeat. Sometimes 3 times a day. I just drink because I love the taste.
Yeah,
And knowing, I sometimes think about of the 1,525 compounds that are in there. And remember, when you eat like, mangoes, the only thing that I don't eat on mangoes is the seed of the mango.
Mhm.
Everything else from the islands, we like this. We like the flesh of the mango, and we like the skin as well.
Really?
Yeah. But you see, people take the skin off. So according to your preferences, but you don't eat that mango and say, okay, I don't eat that compound. No, you're eating the mango itself. Every compound are in there,
Right.
And mango is part of Nuku-Hiva. Okay, very important to support the liver. When you have healthy liver, almost always you're going to be healthy if the other systems and organs are healthy. Okay? And since we don't eat the same diet every day, and we eat differently. Someday we eat healthy, someday we eat junk food. Okay,
Mhm.
so you need the liver to be healthy to process that. Okay, the liver, you can think of it, is where the toxins are neutralized. And if you have the liver being overwhelmed by a lot of toxins, whether the food we eat or the water we drink or whatever, you need the liver to be, the antioxidant level need to be, get activated in order to knock down those oxidants. Okay. Now, having talked about the liver, um, is a good precedent to talk about the blood sugar level. Okay, because blood sugar level is very much needed for everyone to be healthy. As you can see in your chart there, little chart there, when you're fasting, there is a different normal level of sugar need to be there. Okay, uh, and let me give you an experience. For the first time, I never know this until I moved here in '92, and I was working for a place, and we took some of the kids for an activity, and we were watching the movie, and one of the kids came over to me and said, his his eyes are tinkling. And I said, tinkling? How does eyes tinkle? He said it's kind of like fast twitching. And he said, I only see the white stuff. And but the vehicle we were taking the kids with always have a bag, a red bag in there, and I never know what that was. I should have. I just been working for the company for a month, right?
Mhm.
So, and I said, what is that? So one of the staff, oh, that's the diabetic kid. So I ran out because I was the one who had the key, get the bag, came not knowing what's in there, opened the bag, and there were some hard candies and soft candies. So get the soft candies. So, and I can see the kid, the eyes are rolling to the back. I've never seen that before, you know. Good thing it was not Halloween day. Otherwise, I think the kid was pulling a fast one on me, you know.
Uh,
So as soon as he chew on the soft candy, you can see start to calm down and return back to normal. So, and he has a little meter that was tested in there, and his blood sugar was below 70. I did not know that such blood sugar level can be, you know. Um, so it's very important to keep the blood sugar at 100 or a little bit below, okay?
Mhm.
Because if you go way down, that'd be problematic. And if you go way high, that's problematic at the same time. So this is why it's important to understand, because if you have too much blood sugar, it will kick in the advanced glycation end product pathway to go into hyperdrive, which means produce more of the advanced glycation end products. Then it becomes more problematic for every organ in the body.
Mhm.
Okay, so AGE, the advanced glycation end products, affect the health of every organ in the body you can think about. Okay, that there is the proof. Research has already been established on those. Okay, so and like what you see in there, the normal blood sugar level, pre-diabetic and diabetic. Okay, And of course, if you're diabetic, you got to change the way you eat, right? A little bit more exercise, and then Nukuhiva will help you a lot. Okay. In my community, in the radio that we do, every week we do at least 5 hours of radio on Nukuhiva.
Wow.
And there are a lot of people who are diabetic who cannot believe that. Usually, all of them that we have, we're trying to make sure we record all of them. They're about, from what they share, about 150 and up. Okay? To have 2 ounces in the morning, 2 ounces in the evening for 1 month, and see that it goes below 120, which had never done for like 2 years or 3 years before, that is something amazing to them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's very important that we and we can get to the mechanisms involved in how Noni and Nukuhiva are able to lower the blood sugar, but I don't think we have. We'll probably in a week or so get back into that. I found, Brett, that if I start talking about mechanism, people start sleeping. And this is right, especially after you eat a nice lunch today. I don't want to put you to sleep.
There you go.
Okay, but just trust that Nukuhiva will help reduce blood sugar to normal or close to normal. Support the healthy blood sugar. Okay, so now cholesterol. So we finished talking about the sugar, now it's cholesterol. Do they have any relationship with each other? Yes, they do. Okay, research have shown if you have high blood sugar, almost always, it's not far behind, you have high cholesterol level. Okay, and when you have those two high, the sugar and cholesterol, that's really bad news because they can thicken up in blood vessels, stroke, and heart attack. That's the problem. Okay, but not only that, that's when you feel. Remember, every time you go to the doctor always like to feel your neck and all of those. And a lot of people sometimes think, what is he trying to do? Okay, that is the indication of the lymphatic system because you have the nodes in there, lymph nodes. Okay? If he feels the lymph node and then is getting a little bit hard, there's a lot of sugar and cholesterol. And the lymphatic system you can think of is kind of like the main sewage line in a way.
Sewage line.
Yeah, because excuse me for using that example, but when the sewage line is blocked, it's going to back up.
Bad.
Yeah. So if you can think of it that way, having a combination of high blood sugar and high cholesterol, that's when they feel the lymph nodes. And if it is a little hard, then they take blood test because they know they have the sugar and cholesterol high, those two. Okay. I work with a lot of MDs right now in Salt Lake too, and that's some of the reasons why they look at that. And it could be also a combination of infection at the same time because the lymph nodes are not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be flat. Okay? And when you feel it, then it gives you resistance and you feel like there's a lump, something is blocking. Okay, so cholesterol levels is very important. Interestingly, Brent, I discovered the mechanisms of how Noni helps lower cholesterol a few years ago, and then we applied for a patent. Okay, previously, and
This is a study that you did.
yeah, and so the enzymes that involved in making cholesterol. Remember, the body needs cholesterol, right? But sometimes it goes to overdrive, especially when you are older and you have been exposed to a lot of other diets. Right? Then the HMG-CoA reductase enzymes become overdrive, which produce, remember the body is supposed to produce 75. Okay, that's the great estimate of it. So the body no longer produces 75, it probably hop on to 80 or close to 90. Add to that the way you eat, that's complicated everything else. Okay, so combine the higher blood sugar and higher cholesterol, give your lymph node a very hard time trying to drain everything. Okay? And interestingly, when those lymph nodes are blocked, your immune system will start to be affected as well. Your immune level will go down. okay, which helps explain to you that when you're diabetic, your immune level is worse than before. Right? That is part of the reason, because the lymph node is where, and the lymphatic system, that's where a lot of those um, blood components involved in the immune functions. And when that thing is blocked, it cannot be drained, and everything's back up. Okay? It's not like what we have here. If the room is full of stuff, I'll take some materials to a storage somewhere. The body don't have that. It will store it in some blood vessel somewhere close to the heart or the brain, and then we end up with the problem. Okay, so information. Information, like what I said before, is very important. It helps control, kind of like give you a homeostasis, okay, or they call it the low-grade inflammation, which if it's not controlled to the basic level, then it start get to the cancer, pulmonary diseases, neurological diseases, autoimmune, arthritis, diabetes, Alzheimer's, you can name it, cardiovascular. Those are all the problems with inflammation which are not controlled. Okay. When you get inflammation, think of it this way: when you cut your fingers, you see it started to become red. That is the inflammation. Okay, because a lot of the immune cells, macrophages, and white blood cells, and all of those, they start coming in there to attack any bacteria or fungus or virus that comes through that. Okay, that's when you see it starting to become red, and you started to feel the pain and all of those kinds, or sometimes feel warm. Okay, that's inflammation. So inflammation is needed, but when the wound is healed, it needs to stop.
Right.
Okay. Otherwise, that's become overdrive and get to a lot of human diseases. Okay. I found this, which is very important if we take a look at it. Look at the immune system when you're younger compared to when you're older. Okay. So if you can look at it, when you go from young as babies to older gentlemen or gentlewomen, if we can use that, okay, you look at the inflammation. You see the inflammation increases higher and higher and higher and highest when we get to that stage of our lives, right? And some of the markers they use to track these things, among them IL-6, interleukin-6, TNF alpha, and some of the stress hormones. Of course, we are much more stressful when we're older, right? Money, or sometimes your wife give you too much things to do. We all experience that, right? Or your wife get mad at you, that kind of thing. Okay? You become more stressful. And if you can look at the immunoessence, okay, it's almost like senescence. The immune system get into a sleeping mode, basically. That's how I would describe it. Okay? And then if you look at the so the innate immune response are lower and slower. And when you have high blood sugar or diabetic, it becomes even worse, much slower. Okay, that is why it's hard to heal wounds if you're diabetic or high blood sugar. The first thing they always do, as I associate with a lot of MDs in Salt Lake, they'll have you reduce the blood sugar down and stabilize that before they even do any surgery or anything at all. Otherwise, the inflammation will be too high, cannot be controlled, and become complicated. Okay, so it's very important. And then here's something very interesting here. Okay, so noni and nuku-hiva help support healthy inflammation. So as you can see from the picture, when it's become red, when it's healed, inflammation is turned off. Okay, it has to be turned off. Only turn it on when it's needed. When it's not needed, turn back off. Okay, very important. Just like our homes, Okay, right now we don't turn air conditioner on because it's cold outside.
Right.
We have to turn the heater on. Okay, so that's kind of how
Modulated,
things.
yeah.
Yeah. So here we talk about the switch, right? So you gotta, if you turn it on and you leave it on, it consumes a lot of energy, right? Unless you're Bill Gates, I guess you don't care how much you pay, but I'm sure he cares, right?
Yeah,
He
he
wants
does.
his money. And when you leave the room, so if you ever come to this room, Brad, and you see the light is off, you know I was in this room or across by this room because it's a habit that I have. If there's nobody there, why leave it on? I had to turn it off. Okay. So if you can picture that in your mind and hold that thought in your mind, there's the immune system. Okay. We talk about inflammation, you have to turn it back on. And when the wound is healed, you got to turn it off.
Mhm.
Okay. The immune system is, in a way, almost like that. Okay. And let me explain. So it helps support the healthy immune system. And so if there is a virus coming in, a bacteria coming in, or any foreign things coming in, the body has to activate the immune system to a higher level in order to combat the foreign things that come into the body. Okay? So, and when that foreign, let's say bacteria, when that bacteria is neutralized by the macrophage and the white antibodies and all of those kind of things, then the immune system needs to be turned off. But not completely off. There's always a place where it turn off and then in a lower level. Okay? It's kind of like a monitor everything. That's how the immune system does. It's almost a radar.
So what you're telling me is with RA and lupus, I got a broken switch.
Yeah.
And Nuka-Hiva made my switch fix.
It helps.
It fixed my
Yeah,
switch.
it helps. It
Yeah,
helps.
it's easy for me to understand.
Yeah. Because it's almost like a radar. This is one of the reasons why I'm always very appreciative of those in the armed forces because we sleep good at night. There are people out there that monitor things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? When there is a foreigner coming in of those kind of things to the body need to be alerted. Okay? And that's why the body has the helper T cells, the memory T cells, all of those. So if there's, let's say I have bacteria A, and then the body helps to get rid of that. About a few months later, I have another bacteria A, the same bacteria. The body knows exactly what it is, and it boom, go to higher amplification and produce a lot, kind of like producing a lot of armies to take care of the invaders.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's how the immune system works. Okay? And and I discovered it was Dr. Annie Hirosumi who did research scientifically on how noni helps with the immune, and by lowering the interleukin-4, which is interleukin-4 is also one of the markers for inflammation. And noni was shown to not only in vitro but also in vivo to reduce that down tremendously. Okay, so in the research that we have done, we saw the same thing, but something a little bit extra, which is that noni actually activate what is called cannabinoid receptor 2. And cannabinoid receptor 2 are only located in the immune cells. Okay, it's an immunomodulator. What does that mean? Is that if your immune is in a level high enough to take care of things, it does not overactivate them. Because overactivation of the immune system is what you call autoimmune diseases.
Okay. All right, lupus.
So, how much time we have?
We got time. I got some questions for you too when you're
Okay.
done.
So a little bit extra things I want to share with you. I want you to make sure you understand the importance of noni and Nuka-Hiva. Okay. So this is well established now that having a nice sleep is important for what we call the cerebral spinal fluid to wash the brain. Remember, the brain is a high energy organ, okay, which a lot of things are being used in there, and also waste had to be eliminated, right? So having enough sleep, it helps give the brain enough time to clean that. Okay,
That's awesome.
very important. Now, and one of the reasons why is this: when you look at it, the cerebrospinal fluid flows from the brain down the spine. That's how it flows, clean. And this is why I talked about the lymphatic system before,
Mhm.
because the central nervous system, all the system empties to the lymphatic system. Okay, that is a big reasons why you cannot block that.
So
Main.
this is why walking even is a great exercise because it
Mhm.
activates your lymphatic system.
Yes,
Makes you
Yes.
just move,
yes,
which is what we talk about here at Zenoa, is just move.
yeah, yes.
Don't have to go
absolutely.
work out, just move.
Yes, you walk. Walking is better. Okay, and here's something interesting though, Brad. It's also good to do massaging.
Mm.
You can go get a massage, or if your husband's listening, give your wife a massage. If your wife is listening, give massage to your husband on the lymphatic part, the nodes, all of those.
Uh-huh.
It helps to train. Research have shown the flow increases after a massage of the body. So I guess the Chinese, Japanese, and all those cultures who do a lot of those, they understood those kind of
Right,
things.
that makes sense.
So it's very important that we have the cerebrospinal fluid clean the body and the central nervous system. Okay. Now, how does it relate it? Previously on A, okay, it's interesting because we used to believe before, we mean researchers and scientists, okay, medical doctors, that there was no lymphatic system in the brain. That was done before. Until 2015, that's when work was done on mice and they realized that B, so if you're looking at B right now, that is the actual thing how it happens now. And then they found the same in humans, that there's actually a lymphatic system that covers the brain. And if you look at C, that is the expanding so you can see the view, see the artery
Mhm.
coming in, the
Mhm.
vein going out, and you can see all of the lymph nodes in there.
Right.
So the lymphatic system covers the whole body. Okay, by blockage of the lymphatic system have been shown to affect cognition and mental illness. Now there's research right now developed in the last 5 years to examine a lot more of the lymphatic system in the brain as it ties to mental health illness, okay? Which is amazing. Now here's every now and then you have stuff in research that sometimes you miss, but when you go back and look at it, man, that's a gold mine in it, okay? Which I do every day. I review those and try to publish some new stuff, okay? So now let's take a look at this research study, and you can tell this was done back 2013 or 15, around there. Okay, so what they wanted to know in mice, they said, can we mimic the mental illness in mice, and then measure what happened in mice by adding noni? Okay, so that's basically what they were doing. But so they inject mice with scopolamine, which basically reduce your memory. Okay, in
Mhm.
mice now, and it will have the same effect in humans. But you don't do that to humans. That's unethical. Um, so what they found, if you look at the graph, here is the control, the normal expression of acetylcholine esterase. Okay, it should be around 0.4. That's the normal. Okay, and then when the mice were injected with scopolamine, they recognized the activity of the acetylcholine jump to 0.6, which explain like, and it's funny to see these mice. Okay, you put them in a maze, they know where to go get the food. Okay,
Mhm.
after you inject those, a few minutes later, they don't even know where the food is. Okay, the memory has been erased basically. Okay, so and then they wanted to test to see some of the noni extract if it actually helped by doing the increasing the memory.
Mhm.
Okay, so they look at, and then they have another drug which is used donut, okay? And you look at it, it brings it down a little bit lower than the normal, which is okay. The same is a range, okay? And then you look at the ethanol extract of the noni, okay? You compare that to the scopolamine tremendously. That is a significant reduction.
Mhm.
It improves the memory. And when you see it in real life, after they drink the noni or inject the noni, all of a sudden they know where the food is at. Okay, it's almost like you have like the next door having some good food there, and you smell them, but you don't even know where to look for it.
I have to say this. So the friends of mine who think that actually I was crazy for getting in Zenoa are actually wrong. I'm actually not crazy. I'm smarter now that I'm in Zenoa with Noni. Is that what you're saying? That makes sense.
So
I'm not a rat, but I'm getting
Yeah.
smarter.
yeah, and you see the
And I know where the
extract.
food is too. But
Yeah, absolutely. And you see the different extract by looking at the butanol extract that doesn't have that much effect until the concentration is 100. Okay, but the ethyl acetate extract, you see, it has activities as well. But what does it tells us that um, acetylcholine esteration is an amazing compound and an enzyme. So it keeps the firing of the nervous system the way it's supposed to be. So it relates, right? So the information, I see something and I touch something, it should tell the brain what it is. Okay. Alzheimer's problem is the acetylcholine esterase. That is part of the problem. And memory as well. Okay. This helps restore the memory. Okay. And we look at the next one. We're almost done. Now, here's the meat as I was saying before. So they wanted to know.
all my scientist friends are eating this up. They love this.
Yeah. And then here's the funny. I like this presentation. It's almost like we're having a conversation,
Yeah,
right? And
I'm learning.
so they wanted to know, does noni help with the cerebral blood flow? Okay. Remember, a lot of people say, man, my mind was kind of like fog.
Yeah.
A lot of people in my community, that's the first thing they always call and tell me about. I don't know what I was thinking, but it seems like I was in a fog somewhere. And after drinking Nukuhiva in a couple of days or a week, and all of a sudden my mind is sharp. That's how they explain it.
Mhm.
Okay. Remember that the brain is a high energy organ, process a lot of things. There are a lot of waste need to be removed. Okay. And here's the sad part for all of us. The older we get, the slower those things are. Okay.
Mhm.
So there is a great need for dietary supplements and products like these. Okay. So if you can look at the red one, that's where kind of like the control one. Okay. Remember, these mice have been injected with scopolamine, therefore the cerebral blood flow really, really slow, affect their mental. They don't even remember what the food is. Okay? So you can see those. And then the other extracts and control, you see, it really increased the cerebral blood flow, okay, which helps with the memory and mind sharpness of the mind. Okay? So this is why it's very important. So I think that's all the time that
I have some questions.
Sure.
What I'm taking away from this is the AGE seems to be really important because it's kind of central to all the systems. In
That's
that
correct.
Noni then, and what I'm hearing is, has an effect on every system in the body, either bringing it back down to normal or bringing it up to normal, whatever it is, whether it's blood sugar or cholesterol or blood flow in the brain or lymphatics. Every system in the body seems to be affected by Noni.
That's true.
And so really, is there any condition that someone could have that Noni wouldn't actually help? I mean, if I had any kind of disease, any kind of system, a cold even, just a normal, everyday, common cold, Noni is going to help.
Yeah.
It's going to help my body recover and get back to homeostasis.
Yeah, in a cold, my family and I, we always have a cup of Nukuhiva, like last winter.
Mhm.
Right? if you feel like there's a cold coming, I have a cup of Nuku-Hiva and I usually fill the whole cup. Probably, I guess it's probably close to 10 ounces.
Okay.
Put in the microwave, I give it a minute or so, and then I just, smell it, it's nice. And it opens my sinuses, interestingly.
Okay.
And then I sip it right through and hold it, and after that, I'm fine.
That gives me another question. Can I overdose on noni? Can I drink too much?
After calculating the Nuku-Hiva, I was asked that question before. If you can drink 75 bottles of Nuku-Hiva,
75 bottles
on Nuku-Hiva
would be too much.
Yeah.
But anything under that is probably
Yeah.
okay.
Can you drink 75
I
bottles? of
can't,
Nuku-Hiva?
no. Can I underdose? Can I not take enough and not get the effect? If I just took an ounce a day, would that be enough?
But some people, like if their immune system and everything's okay, healthy, you can do 1 ounce a day for maintaining.
Okay.
But from the clinical studies of noni, it's always better to take an ounce in the morning and an ounce in the afternoon or evening.
Okay.
If you're older, like 60s, 70s, probably better to take it around 5 or so. If you take it 7 or 8, you'll find yourself more energized and you have a hard time going to sleep.
Okay. If I take a couple ounces every 2 hours, maybe 4 times a day, that would be very helpful for somebody who has maybe some autoimmune system challenges.
Yeah, it will be very helpful. But that is always a function of money, right? If
Yeah.
you can afford all of those.
I found that 8 ounces of noni every day is cheaper than the 5 pharmaceutical drugs I was taking every day. And it was a lot less painful than the methotrexate that I used to shoot into my belly.
Mm.
And so I'm kind of finding that the price is right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, just a couple more questions and then we'll wrap it up. Tell me, we always hear that phytonutrients and iridoids. We have 10 times more than our leading competitor. We're far superior as a noni product than anything else on the market because we're 10 times more powerful in phytonutrients, or I heard 13 times more powerful in phytonutrients and iridoids. What are they? Why, and why should I care?
Well, in noni, you have vitamins, you have minerals in noni, and you have other, what we call polyphenols, and all of those kind of things in Nuku-Hiva as well, right? And iridoids, there are at least 16 iridoids have been found in the noni fruit puree. But the noni plant itself is loaded with iridoids from the blossom to the roots, right? Iridoids have been researched for over 100 years, so it's not a new thing. I think sometimes some people think that iridoids is a new thing. It has been done for a long time now. Okay, so it's very, very important to know that. And like what I said before, Brad, when you look at the Nuku-Hiva bottle, there's 1,500 at least.
Lost them.
Yes, we did.
Very interesting. Lovely.
One.
Uh-oh.
Very nice.
Are they back on or no?
Excellent presentation. I have taken screenshots of all the slides because
Kitty, that would be great to have a copy of the screenshots.
who said that? Who said that?
Lisa McMahon.
Okay.
And Kitty, Brad has this all recorded, and he could send out his the slideshow.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure he will. It'll be in the back office.
Can you hear me?
You're back. You're back.
You can hear you, but I can't. Oh, where are they?
Oh.
I can hear you, Brad, but can't see you.
Yes. When Dr. Affa was speaking about iridoids is when we lost you.
Oh.
Can you guys hear us?
Yes, we hear you.
Oh, okay. So, Brad, it's very important that everybody knows Nuku-Hiva, there's 1,500 phytonutrients in it, adding all of the components of Nuku-Hiva together, okay? Which is why a lot of people everywhere and people in my community do a lot of radio work with them, are seeing a lot of health benefits, which is to them, having all of those things and taste great. Okay, you know, a lot of us in the islands, we used to drink noni among other things that are not very good tasting, but having Nuku-Hiva, that is something is always good towards older people. I'm talking about 70s, 80s, 90s years old. The first thing they do with the little cup of Nuku-Hiva is to smell it, to see if it smells the same as one we used to drink. And then they taste it, and then they say, okay, I need a bigger cup. Okay, and immediately they can feel the energy that comes to them.
I love the taste.
Yeah, and like what they said, you know, I did not notice the difference until after I drink it, and my brain started to, you know, sharper than what they were before. They did not know that until they drink them.
But you have experience with multiple noni products. In other words, you're the expert on this product and this ingredient in this product. And why is the new next generation of noni so much better? Is it the fermented and the fruit neck puree together? No one else does that?
Yeah, there's no product out there that combine the noni fruit puree and the fermented noni nectar. That is the next generation of noni. You combine scientific knowledge and with traditional method, right? Combine the two, you get a lot more of it, right? So let me give you just an example. If I'm taking only the puree, let's say I get 200 phytonutrients. And then if I'm taking only the noni, fermented noni nectar, let's say I get 150. If I combine them, I get a whole lot more of benefits and phytonutrients.
So it's not an addition. It's a multiplication. It's not one plus the other one. It's more than that.
Yeah, you
The
get
combination.
along. Yeah, and a lot of research, like Dr. Wong and colleagues, they do a lot of research on the fermented noni nectar. And fermented noni nectar has shown to be, in some of the research, a lot more powerful than the noni fruit puree on the things they were looking at. Okay, so by combining the two, you get best of both worlds, basically. And then you combine the rest of the ingredients for Nuku-Hiva, which they have polyphenols, antioxidants, everything. Combining those, you get 1,500 at least. So let me ask you this question though, Brad. If I give you two choices, one that has $100 and the other one has $1,500, which one will you take? You're only allowed to take one. not both.
1,500.
Why?
I need more. I want more.
Okay,
More is better.
that's Nuku-Hiva.
Well, thank you very much. Dr. Palu, I thank you for your time. Everybody on the call, I think we got a lot out of it. It's clear to me that Nuku-Hiva is the best noni product there is on the planet. And we're in the right place at the right time with a business opportunity to take this health solution to the world. So
How about this, man? How about this? I have a little survey. I have a lot of Polynesian people come, and I put Nuku-Hiva there without any label in the cups. Okay, and I always have the other competitors in, and I ask them to taste all of those. And the last one is, by the time they get to Nuku-Hiva, they say, no, we don't want to taste any more noni product. These are all, you know. And then, no, I want you to taste it. And when they pick it up, 100%, never fails, okay? And I have over 100 people now. They will smell it first. Oh, that doesn't smell like, that's what the comments are. Doesn't smell like the one that we used to drink. And when they drink, right after, they say, okay, can I get a bigger cup?
I understand.
You know, for the competitors, they don't want it. They say, how do you drink these? Until Nuku-Hiva says, oh, we can drink this every day.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and some of them, in fact, some of them drink it like like regular water. I said, well, if you have a lot of money, you can you can buy them.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of them just open it and do it until it's finished, and can I get another bottle? No, you gotta pay for it.
Yeah. That's great. Well, thanks again, Dr. Palu, for your time and everybody for being involved. And we will continue this with new studies and new webinars with more information. If you need more scientific information, you certainly can contact Dr. Palu at his email address on the screen, and we'll go from there. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I appreciate April and Kitty. Thank you. Love you guys.